follow your passion. Don't ever just sit on wondering if you can. Just try it. You never know as to what can come out of it after that.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Lyndon Brathwaite. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
I am doing great, Angel. Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure to be on a podcast of your caliber. Let me say it like that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a great pleasure to have a person of your caliber from local soil on the podcast. It's a great and grand opportunity. So we did connect at a LinkedIn local event, right? It was my first LinkedIn local event. And we were able to have a conversation for quite a bit, right? I was really impressed by all you were doing. It was a really great conversation. So I'm really glad to have you on the podcast. What would you say is the talent that has connected us, though, if you had to sum it up?
I may not initially look at it as a talent. I think I really connected with your purpose. And I think that's where I was really inspired by what is it that you were doing, the way that you were doing it, the success that you were achieving, and of course, the value was bringing to people. One of those people being myself. And that actually just really inspired me to, follow my dream, follow my passion. I was already on the journey when we spoke, but it really gave me a lot more fuel towards pursuing that dream of helping others through my own particular skill, with that being sales and connecting better with people and, finding out what people's needs are and stuff like that.
In preparing for the podcast and looking at your bio, I saw that in your vision, the summary of the 4 words, which are change, create,
difference,
achieve. Yeah, open that up for us a bit, please.
That in itself is the core of the name of the company called OPAAT-SWY. Right? OPAAT-SWY really means one person at a time, starting with yourself. OPAAT-SWY. And it's funny because every time I share that with people, they ask me if it's Swahili and everything else. But it's really and truly a Trinidadian thing. And it came from my aunt, where she was making an observation many, many years ago as to I was really trying to change a particular part of my life around and trying to really offer help to others. Right? And she was seeing where that was sort of taking a lot out of me. And she said, listen, I like what you're trying to do. However, you need to make sure that you are in a better position to be able to do a lot of these things. So she would always say, look after yourself first. You're not being selfish, so that you'll be in a better position to look after others. All right. So that's where the one person at a time, starting with yourself. So the starting with yourself was me. And then as I moved along in my career as a sales professional, I saw where as a manager, I was having challenges really connecting with the entire team sometimes, or connecting with senior management. But there would always be that one person that would get it. That one person would come back to me, whether it's in work or outside of work. They would say, I think I understand exactly where you're coming from. Well, Lyndon, thank you for the support that you got. And I started to realize that sometimes you really can't help everybody all at once. We all have these grandiose things of wanting to change the world. But I realized you can't change the world in one shot. It kind of goes back to the thing, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
And with that as well, it meant I also saw, and I used my personal experiences a lot, where I had to change a few things to create opportunities for myself so I could make a difference for me and for my daughter, for my family, or whoever else it was, and then achieve whatever it is I wanted to achieve on that day, on that year, on that month, lifetime. And so that is really and truly where it came from a conversation with my aunt, and to where it is now that you see it in the bio.
So listening seems to be something that you're very good at, given that story, because you could have heard what you answered, but instead you listened, right?
Yes.
And then you're actively listening as well. So who did you learn that from?
I think that came over time because of what I do as it relates to sales. And it's interesting that you asked that question, because when you asked it, I remember there was a particular period, maybe about 2 years within the last organization that I worked with. And a lot of people would come to me to sit, to vent, to share their ideas. And I had to do just that. I had to listen. I wasn't always a very good listener, though. I was extremely cocky. You would hear me before I could hear you, that type of thing. And sometimes I wouldn't hear you because, I would only give you my 2 cents, and I felt that whatever I said was the gospel. But that changed because, again, through life's experiences. And I realized, I had to change my perspective and my approach to certain things. And I just really started to listen and give genuine advice. But the advice really came from my experiences. So there was a particular period where I fell a couple of times, really, really low. And I learned from that. And I just started to share those things with people. Whether they came to me or not, I would let them know as to what experiences I had and what I learned from that. And I saw more and more people coming to share, whether it was something from home, something that they experienced in the office, whether it was an idea. And so that just developed on its own over time before leaving the last organization that I worked with.
Now, in the consultation that you're doing, you're offering and you've specialized in industries such as financial, automotive, information communication, and telecommunications and corporate services. When you look back, the value that you've grown to learn, to understand, develop over the last 3 years, do you have any regrets?
No, none whatsoever, because they've all helped in my development to present day. For us to have this conversation today, if I did not make any of those moves, as some of them were very, very short term, I think the shortest term I had there was 3 months in one of those organizations. Then another one was 7 months. And not very successful 7 months either. I was basically fired, but it really conditioned me and it helped me to get to this point. So I really have no regrets as it relates to any move that I would have made, because every one of those moves helped me get to this point, and I learned so much along the way.
At this point today, what are you most excited about within your business?
Man. So one is working the business. But I think I would have shared with you that I was able to secure a partnership with an international software provider. So I'm currently the only one in the English-speaking Caribbean with that accomplishment.
Are you able to say the name of it?
Yeah, HubSpot CRM.
Boom! Congratulations.
Yes, and that was just a matter of being bold. I did speak to a colleague of mine, another Trinidadian who's out there in Israel, and she gave me an idea as to how to go about doing it. But as I tell people, she gave me an idea, but when I made the phone call to HubSpot, they actually shut me down about 3 times. I had to call until I found that one crack. And when I got the crack is when I did certain things that they asked me to do. And then it's like that Les Brown story where he kept going back asking for a job and the guy said, there's no job here, So I just made sure that, I would try to break in any particular way. So I just asked as many questions as possible. Yes, I may have become annoying, but there was one crack, and then here I am today with the ability to say, well, I'm a certified HubSpot partner.
Love that. Where's the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you?
The best place is via social media. I would always say LinkedIn is really the first and most important area. The second location I would say would be Instagram. And of course, on the website, which will be OPAAT-SWY.com, OPAATSWY.com.
All right. Well, let's switch gears for a moment now, Lyndon. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Lyndon, what's your earliest childhood memory?
Wow. Earliest childhood memory would be walking up the hill with my sister. She was maybe around 5 and I was 7.
So why do you think this memory is so clear, though?
Because when my sister left the country when she was 11 years old, I've not seen her since. I mean, we talk a lot, but she's out there in Atlanta. She has, a large family, but I have not been able to make it to Atlanta. So that sticks out a lot to me. Until I see her, I think that's always going to be there. Yeah.
That's intriguing. Yeah. I mean, immediately, Lyndon, what comes to mind is how other women have helped you get up the hill, right? So immediately I think about your aunt, how she was able to help you by giving that advice, right? Not to understand helping yourself, as well as the lady you just mentioned that helped you with the information for HubSpot, as well as, I'm guessing, your daughter, right? And the value that she brings to the relationship. So it's really cool how that's happening in repetition. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Wow. Michael Jackson.
All right. What song from Michael?
I think it's Don't Stop Till I Get Enough. I mean, that might be just the lyrics. I don't know the name of the song. But I think by me just saying that, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think that song stands out a lot. I mean, I don't know the name of the titles, but that's
connects, right? The words connect. Yeah, everything connects.
Yeah, correct.
All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Lyndon, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children? Well, your daughter, right?
Yes, one.
Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Not anymore.
All right.
So that's changed.
What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It's less than 8 hours a day.
If you had to share with us your own unique, real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Lyndon Brathwaite, what would you say that is?
Lyndon Brathwaite loves people, and if I had to break that down, people goes, as you know, PEOPLE. It means positively impacting other people's lives every day.
Ooh, first time I hear that one. I love that.
I've been sitting on that one for a while.
Love it. All right. Well, Lyndon, this has been such a great pleasure, my friend. Before we leave, though, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yeah, I would just tell people to follow your passion, even if it means working with someone else that you have a passion doing. It may not be a big thing of going out for yourself, but don't ever just sit on wondering if you can. Just try it. You never know as to what can come out of it after that.
Amazing audience. Again, Lyndon Brathwaite, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.